David Alexander Lightfoot, navigator of truth, wayshower, ascension guide, lightworker, empath, and songwriter, and artist. Sorry, I had to move your little icon to see that last word there. That's on your Facebook page. Welcome to Nature of Reality Radio. I saw a video that you, well, not you, but the Higher Self YouTube channel had uploaded, and it's always an honor and a privilege to have one of your videos uploaded to the Higher Self YouTube channel. That's definitely a sign that you're worthy of being glorified in some way on some show or program, and I decided at that point I definitely should reach out to you. I see you've got 23 mutual friends of mine on Facebook and almost 5,000 mark. You've got a lot of people following you. You must have a great following. And just a quick disclaimer for my listeners, folks, I'm sorry about people getting impatient. I haven't uploaded to YouTube in a while. It's just that the YouTube censorship Nazis just don't know when to approve, I should say. I've been waiting in the wings for them to approve my channel for monetization after I reapplied for that, and I figure it's best for me not to upload any of the shows that I've pre-recorded, so I can not give them any incentive to not allow for my show to monetize, because I do talk about a lot of things that the powers that be don't want people to hear. So if I don't upload, then they don't have incentive to not allow my channel to be monetized. But, well, soon that's going to stop, and I guess maybe one more week at the most is all I can afford to give this, because just at the Lionsgate portal, time to start new things, and maybe by the next quarter moon, it's time to get on with uploading new shows. And folks, you'll have to pay me to listen to my shows, the last 35 to 40% of them, of the shows. The last 35 to 40% of the show, you will have to pay me on Patreon to be able to listen to the show. It's time for people like me to show that our work is worthy of being monetized, and we are worthy of being paid for it. So I've babbled long enough. David Alexander Lightfoot, now is your chance to glorify yourself. You have a long list of things to say about yourself. Why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, what you experience, the kind of person that you are, to set the stage for this interview. For those that haven't heard about you, you've got the floor. I will put myself on mute and not interrupt you.
Okay. Hello, listeners. Yeah, I am an awakened soul for about 25 years now, and awakened meaning that I am conscious of myself being a multidimensional human being, that we can reach through dimensions and connect with the angels, with our galactic brothers and sisters, the archangels, of course, and the ascended masters, and also can connect directly with our higher self and the divine creator, mother, father. My awakening was not so fun. I had a car accident in my early 20s, leaving me with a whiplash and back problems. That was my first awakening. A few years later, I got some visitors in my sleep, and they really awoke me, because what they were doing I didn't like too much. So yeah, a couple of events led me to see the world differently than other people. First of all, I thought I was thinking that I was going nuts, believing that I was the only one who knew this, and I was afraid to talk about this. With the coming of the internet, I found other people, other teachers that were awakened, and yeah, then everything started rolling, and we're now in a time that magical things happen, with a lot of awakenings in the world. Young people are awakening. A lot of people are ascending. Our planet has ascended to the 5th dimension from the 3rd dimension. And so we're in exciting times, also troublesome times, because we see there's a lot of things going on in the world with people who don't understand what is going on right now. And yeah, I feel that being an empath, that makes me empathic to what I see, feel, hear, and that is, yeah, on one side a gift, also a little bit of a curse because it can be overwhelming, and sometimes I can even get lost in the feelings that I feel. But we're here talking about the higher self, and the higher self is a part of ourselves that we've forgotten. Um, when we are born into a body, and we are directly connected to source, to the divine. When we get a little older, all other people started putting their opinions and their beliefs upon us. So we get disconnected. And that's crazy because this has been going on for thousands of years. We are multidimensional human beings, and this is our state. And we have a fifth dimensional body and imprint from the beginning, so that we're now doing this ascension part, connecting with our higher selves more, talking about it, changing the world, leaving the three-dimensional matrix and start living on a higher plane with our bodies still intact. That's amazing. I can only share what I feel and what I see, and our higher self is such an important part of that. The higher self is an aspect of us that is energy. It's an intelligence, it's consciousness. It's our true self. It's not physical. It is us or you in connection to the universe, the divine, your inner voice, your gut feeling, and you need to align with it. This is something most adults, most humans have forgotten. It's all about remembering, and this usually only happens when people go through huge traumas, or accidents, or tough situations in life that they can see, or they are forced even to step out of the illusion of the third dimensional. And we need to remember that we are energetic beings and multidimensional. That is why it is important to talk about it, because it's been hidden from us by our governments, our religions. We were not allowed to talk about this, that we are multidimensional beings, that we have the right to live an abundant life. The universe is expanding all the time, and so are we if we are open for it. And that's why it is important to connect with your higher self, and you can see your higher self as a big brother, a big sister you can talk to, but you need to do it from a loving place. You need to be in your heart to get that real good connection with your higher self. It is important that you are silent. And I'm talking about the mind, because our mind takes over all the time. And to be still is important. The mind is not in control. The heart is. And this is what we are not taught in schools, because we are meant to learn and use our minds, and not knowing that the heart is also connected to the mind. But if you learn and live your life through the heart, the mind is more intelligent and in use than just using the mind instead of the heart. So it's important to practice stillness. Focus on your breathing. Get out of your mind and back into your heart. to be in harmony with the heart, to connect with the sacredness of our true self. To ground ourselves is important as well, because yeah, we don't want to fly away. We still have our bodies, and we need to be grounded in our body and stay connected with the earth. So observing your thoughts without judgment and releasing resistance, watching your self-talk, because we have a lot of negative self-talk, usually not by ourselves, but through the lessons we encountered in this life or maybe past lives. So it's important not to listen to your ego, and your ego is connected more to the mind and to the materialistic things. So being in your heart is so important, and quiet the mind and hear your soul speak. You know, our ego thinks it's in control, and we let it. And why? Because it's blocking us receiving divine messages, divine gifts, connecting with everything. And we think we are in a box, but we are not. We just need to let down all the walls we built around us to make us feel safe or protected, but we don't need that anymore. There's so much change at this point, and there will be a lot of disclosure coming soon as well. So only love can guide us. Self-love and self-care are so important, are most important right now. So taking care of yourself is not being selfish at all. It is, just loving yourself, and from that love you get a better connection with your higher self. So we need to be in a state of higher vibration and frequency to connect with our higher self through the heart from love. So if you're fearful and you get distracted by sound, by people, negative thoughts, it will not give you the answers you want. Only when there's a change in perception, mostly through deep awakening, you are able to see, feel, and hear there is more to us than we know. Being in nature, doing sports, not thinking, just being. And that's something a lot of people need to hear, because most of us live a stressful life, thinking about our mortgages, how to pay our bills, and of course that is important, but it can be done for another kind of space. It's all about perception, of course, and your connection to it all. And if you watch negative news, if you watch negative movies, horror things, that lowers your vibration. So if you want to connect with the divine, with angels, with our galactic brothers and sisters, it is important that you are silent. And it's a path that you walk alone. And it is important that you stay true to yourself, because nobody can walk this path for you. When we learn on this awakening path that we can heal ourselves, we can grow, that we have access to a universe full of knowledge that's waiting for us to connect with again. That's amazing. So what I want to do is I want to do a little breathing exercise for people to get back in their hearts.
All right, that's fine. If you want to do a little breathing exercise, I can certainly be open to that. So people can always go back to this interview to do that. So of course this will be the free part of the interview. So How long is this going to last? Just so I know, so I can time myself to be able to prepare for asking questions after this is done and
Okay.
everything.
I think just 5 minutes or
5 minutes. All right. I'm
yeah.
gonna
It's
let's do
just
this.
I just want to give the listeners just a little example of how easy it is. You know. So if you say go ahead, I'll start.
All right. Knock yourself out. Let's do this, and
Okay.
I'll be breathing with you.
Um, for connecting with your higher self, it is important that we again quiet our minds, get back into our hearts. And when you're in a stressful life, even 5 minutes a day, when you wake up or when you go before you go to sleep, do some breathing exercises just to let everything fall off you, and it will give you so much more pleasure uh, to connect this way with yourself that you will automatically start doing that more often. So I would suggest sit back, relax a little bit, or lie down, whatever you want to do. And we're gonna do some breathing exercises. It's really easy. Make sure you're fully in your body, that you're grounded with your feet on the ground, and imagine that your feet grow roots deep down inside to the core of the planet. So you're grounded because we're going up and we're going to stay in our bodies. Um, we're we're going to inhale just with a few seconds. So we'll, 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This you can extend, and you can see that you can go deeper. The longer you can breathe in and the slower you can breathe out, you become calmer. And when we inhale, we can also use words like breathe in love, light, joy, happiness, abundance. Breathing out all the negativity, hate, fear. Breathing in love, light, happiness, joy, abundance. Breathing out negativity, fear, hate, and lack. Also things that you can put into words. What you want more, you can breathe in. What you want less, you breathe out. And when you're at a point that you say, I feel really calm, you just ask, Dear Divine, Father, Mother, Creator, God, the Ascended Masters, the Archangels, please help me connect with my higher self. I want to connect with my higher self to be in true connection with who I am completely. To experience divine love, the divine messages that are meant for me to be heard. I want to connect with my higher self. I want to connect with the divine. I am a multi-dimensional human being. I'm open to receiving all the blessings, all the healing, and I'm ready to release all that no longer serves me. It's so simple. You can fill it in whatever you want. And that's it.
Okay, thank you for that lovely breathing exercise. I feel a little more fresh myself. And now that that's out of the way, all right, we're still doing the free part of the show here. There was a couple things you said earlier that I made a note of that I want to touch on here. You mentioned something about how we can all see a day where we don't have any borders or restrictions preventing us from accessing everything. Now, this seems to clash with what's going on in the present day with this whole illegal immigration saga where there's a clash of civilizations where they're trying to destabilize they being the cult, the domination control that still has some control, trying to destroy humanity by infiltrating society with different people of different cultures through illegal immigration and no borders. And some will assert that this is definitely a bad thing, so we need to have secure borders to prevent this from happening. On the other hand, there seem to be a lot of spiritual but not religious people who say that open borders is the way to go if you want to be all 5D and all Ascension wise. I mean, you want to have true liberty and right to travel and all that. You need to be able to cross borders without any government permission or paperwork filing. But of course, we're not really at a point there yet. So that raises the question, how many years from now do we have to wait before we can have open borders where people don't have to go through vetting processes in order to cross the border? And what do you see as the well, the major issue between the whole open borders versus closed borders issue that we see in the world today?
Yeah, well, I live in Europe myself, so I'm used to meeting a lot of people from all kinds of cultures. I lived in the US for a year many years ago, so I know a little bit about that as well. I see it more as like it's strange that we call everyone illegal or aliens or it's knowing that we're all coming from the divine, that we're all connected to the divine, and that we are all multidimensional, connected to everyone and everything, is of course something that you only feel and hear more, seeing that perception when you're an awakened human, uh, experiencing that. But for most people that are not awakened yet, yeah, of course, they get scared. They don't know what is happening. They are feeling the fear, the loss of their jobs, or afraid of their homes, losing their homes through, yeah, people moving in. And in Europe, we have the same thing. A lot of people from Eastern Europe or Africa come to, yeah, look for a better for a better life. And yeah, at one point you cannot blame them because everybody wants a better life. Um, so it's, but how I see things is so much is changing right now and it's going really fast. The next couple of months, a lot of disclosure will come. So we will see the world more differently and in its true form, instead of that third dimensional form of fear, control, abuse. It's not gonna take years for people to see this. And when people realize that we are all love and love is the only, yeah, true power in the universe, we can change this world, and it's already happening. I know that. I see that. So many people are awakening, and start following a more spiritual path, away from religion, away from the control society. So it's it's difficult for me to say something like we have to put up borders, because I think putting up borders will not help, because you will always have people that will look for a better life. So what we need to do is teach people how to make their lives better, and knowing that awakened people arise around the globe in all countries around the world. There's a network of more positive energy, love energy being spread out the world. And this is helping release fear, control, and expose all that's not true. All the lies will be exposed. All governments that don't have a great and honest agenda will be exposed. And there's no way that they can stop that anymore, because when you meet awakened people, they don't take no for an answer. They are sovereign in their own power. So getting back to your question, it's hard to predict, but I just know that the next few months, at least this year, a lot of things are gonna happen that will awaken more people. And these yeah, situations where we're talking about with immigrants, they will look like small issues.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned these next few months, things are going to happen in terms of disclosure. Now, I hear you say that, and I'm sure a lot of people will hear you say that and say, oh no, we've been down this road before where we've heard there's going to be disclosure, and we get basically nothing more than preaching to the choir, stuff we've already heard that some whistleblower, investigative journalist, or conspiracy theorist has exposed at some point or another, and now someone else just tries to expose it, but it's already been known at some point, at some level. And not only that, I mean, let me turn back the clock for a moment to when the lockdowns happened back in March and April of 2020. David Wilcock was talking about how there was a plan by the White Hats at that time to release video, like an 8-hour video in three separate segments, of the that would show basically how everything is a lie. We've all been lied to, and the way the nature of reality really is, and all that. And but then that didn't happen. And when he tried to explain why it didn't happen, he basically said, "Well, we need to be able to put our kids to bed tonight." And we know that people can't handle the truth, so it's being postponed. And you can't help but do a double face palm when you hear that, because like people like you and me were awakened, and it drives us crazy to see that there are so many other people who will unfortunately suffer strokes and heart attacks if they hear the truth that they can't handle, if that's
Mhm.
taking it to an extreme. And the disclosure thing about the UFOs and all that, we were supposed to hear something after 180 days, and what did we get? We got basically the same thing that they've been talking about on UFO hunters and ancient aliens for all the past past decades. So it's nothing
True,
new. Nothing
true.
doesn't
Yeah.
help us at all. So
No.
where are you making the claim that the disclosure is actually going to be a little bit more different, with maybe some mainstream sources saying, okay, the alternative media was right all along. This is the way it is. You have no choice but to accept the truth.
Mhm.
How do you know it's going to be like that? Is it going to be like that? And how do you know? And
Well, it has already started a while ago, because part of the awakening process is that you recognize how we are being lied to by our governments, and especially by control. I mean, how many people can say they live free? They live a free life without any control um, or abuse in some way. I mean, this is it's. I mean, the alien part is just a small part of it, because it's more about living a life where you can see that you're more than just a third dimensional human, that you are connected with everything. And that is what I call disclosure. And whatever happens when the veil drops, I mean, that's what I see, and many others with me, is that you see that there really is more to our world, that it's multidimensional, that we are connected with other beings from other planets, and how far that goes, and when it starts, when they show themselves, that's not up to me. I just think it's important that disclosure is not just talking about aliens. It's more than that. It's dropping the veil, um, stopping all the negativity, stopping all the abuse, all what is coming to surface. Because there's governments that know so much they don't share. Religions know so much they do not share. This has been going on for thousands of years. That people were kept in the dark. Um, you cannot connect with your higher self. You cannot connect directly with God. You cannot connect directly with Jesus or Buddha. You're nuts if you say that. Well, this is part of disclosure as well. Being free in spirit, being free in mind, free in body. And yes, of course, we are not alone. Um, how could we be alone? Where do we come from? That's all part of the disclosure. Being willing to be open-minded and start searching your own answers, and start your own religion. You are your own religion. You are the only one that walks your path, and that's what you see when you start loving yourself again. Because most people are have been endured so much pain and abuse and trauma that we think the world is all negative, but it's not. We have been controlled for thousands of years by people that know that we can ascend, that we can live a spiritual life connected to Jesus and to other beings from other planets. That's part of who we are. We are multi-dimensional human beings, spiritual human beings. So I don't want to focus too much on galactic brothers and sisters, because they have been out there for thousands of years also. They have been watching us. They have been helping us. And this is part of truth that will be revealed. When exactly, I do not know. And I don't want to do any I don't want to go too much into the future, because we live in the now and we create our lives in the now moment. So, but yeah, if you're a little open-minded, you watch the news, you see what's going on in the world, that we're destroying our planet, but we're also seeing the opposite, that people are awakening, start coming up with new ideas to clean up the world and help each other. It's the new world that's already here, but most people do not know it yet, is one of unity, not one of being selfish or from the ego. It's helping each other. So that, coming back to your original question about immigrants, we all matter in this world. We were, if not, we were not meant to be here. So it's exciting to be in a time that so much is happening. Yes, of course, we see so many negative things with the virus, and everything sort of is divinely guided. You can agree with it, you cannot agree with it. It's being true to yourself and listening what is love to you means to you. You know, being a loving, observing person with an open heart. That's what I think is disclosure. So I would love to hear your vision on that too.
All right, I guess I'll give my vision, and then after I give my vision, that'll be the point where people will have to pay to listen to the rest of this. But yes, I definitely want disclosure to happen. People have accused me of being a little too extreme, and I will say that I kind of do want it to be extreme. I'm the kind of guy that would say whistleblowers expose everything. To hell with the fact that people can't handle the truth, and if anybody threatens you, tell them to shove up their ass and get the truth out. It's anybody that suffers as a result of the truth, it's a price that's worth paying for the sake of waking up humanity sooner rather than later. Of course, like I said, I take it to an extreme, and that's just the way I am. But anything that I can do to bring it sooner rather than later, I try to do it. And well, people are free to criticize me all they want for being extreme, and I try not to be a little too negative. I mean, I've been critical of people like David Icke, who, even though he said in his October 2012 presentation, "Remember who you are," which I had the privilege of seeing live in person at the Wembley Arena in London, he did say that after the 2012 Mind calendar end date, he expected the energy, the vibrational frequency of the earth, the love energy to keep increasing and increasing and increasing and never stop increasing and just keep increasing at a rate that would never slow down. But yet, it's so funny how David Icke always seems to want to talk about negative things, which I guess his strategy is expose every last weak link in humanity's chain, which isn't a bad thing. But if you believe that everything is going to be light and love in the future, and it's going to increase at a light and love rate much, much faster, then why do you have to continue to focus on negativity? It seems like that's obviously not the best way to go about it. I mean, he's got his own way of doing things, and I've got my own way. I'm actually reading his book, The Answer, right now, and I got to the point talking about how the pandemic, he's caused a brouhaha of sorts, saying that there is no virus and they're just testing for genetic material, and it's all a scam. But I've actually spoken to a couple of people who claim that they've had the disease that should not be named, and they think it's absurd that one could say that there is no disease and it's all a fraud. If anything, it was probably engineered out of a virus that came from bats in a lab in China and spread to the rest of the world just as a way of they can go back on this and say, yeah, there is a V out there. But well, the truth will come out in that and so many other things. And now that I've said that, at this point, from this point onward in this program, people will have to pay me to listen to the rest of this program. You can pay me on Patreon, and I gotta upload all the other shows that I haven't uploaded to YouTube yet. Like I said, I haven't uploaded them because I'm trying to time it properly with them approving my channel for monetization. But if they don't do that, then, well, I might as well just start uploading soon within the week and hope that everything works out well. And with that being said,